Hi, it's been a long time I have come up with a new video, but here we are. Um, Today we are going to just go in the second part of having our own Copilot. We have initially seen that we can take just normal GPT, we can put a wrapper on top of it, and we can have our um own Copilot, right? So if I cbsc dot so this was our Copilot that we created in the last time. So I'm going to take it one step further, where we're going to have our um, own questions asked, and I'm going to show it to you how we can do that. So this is our normal template where we say, okay, I'm going to define my um, GPT, uh, and I'm going to ask him a question. I'm going to just say hello, and it's going to give me a reply back saying, how are you, or how can I assist you today? Things like that, right? Um, I'm going to ask some little bit more questions to this particular framework now. So I'm going to ask, what is the date of birth of, or let's say, when was Barack Obama born? Okay, and most likely it's going to give me uh, the date of birth of Mr. Uh, Barack Obama, right? So he was born on August 4th, 1961. Yeah, so it basically knows its knowledge base. It goes and uh, takes the knowledge base and gives you the information, right? So that's what all the GPTs are famous for. But I have a very small use case of me saying that I have some of my colleagues and I want to ask the date of birth of my colleague. So when was, let's say, Tom Thomas? That's my colleague, or it's basically an arbitrary name. When was Tom Thomas born? And most likely it's going to say, I don't know who Tom Thomas is, right? Uh, or something on a very similar lines. Um, yeah, we got the reply saying that, okay, as of April 23, I don't know who Tom Thomas is and his date of birth. Because Tom Thomas is my colleagues and there is no way ChatGPT has to know this particular name. But what if I give him an information saying that, okay, this is my question. Please refer to the paragraph or a file or a database. Look for the relevant information, take it back and answer it to me. So I'm going to use uh, some small framework or template that I can use for retrieving this information. So instead of this, I'm going to say, for example, there is a text. For example, Tom Thomas was born on 10th July. Harry was born in Paris in 1988 and blah, blah, blah. So this is the information. And I tell my prompt or I tell my ChatGPT, please refer to the document, my text. I'm putting it here, and then answer the question from the user. And what is the question of the user? The question, user question is gonna be, when was Tom Thomas born? Does that make sense? So here the user question is, when was Tom Thomas born? And the text or the text that he is supposed to refer to is in my text. And this is basically my template where I say, please refer to the document that is as part of this variable and answer the question that is part of this variable. And let's see now if it answers my question. So ideally, we should get an answer saying that Tom Thomas was born in 1985. And there we are. We were able to retrieve the information which was very specific to myself or my organization, which was not public, and I was able to answer it. So let's make it a little bit more complicated. This is not what you want to know, right? For example, you could have just searched for Tom Thomas and you could have gone for this line, right? So let's make it a little bit more complex, a one-step complex. Let's say, where was Harry born? And we kind of should get an answer that he was born in Paris, right? Okay, Harry was born in Paris. That's good. Now let's make it one more step complicated where he can retrieve the whole of information and make sense out of it. So for example, I can ask something like, who is older, Tom or Harry? And it should kind of say Tom is older, right? So yeah, so he retrieved the information, he categorized it correctly, and he even says then Tom is older than Harry. Good. So this is our use case. Our use case is being able to answer the questions not from a general knowledge, but a knowledge that is very much specific to my use case, my organization, my classroom, my whatever. Basically, the knowledge, the data that is which is private to you. So let's go ahead and try to demonstrate the same thing in the OAI or Azure OpenAI's playground. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly the same thing in my own Copilot. So for example, as of now, if I say, where was Barack Obama born? And it should basically say somewhere August 1961. And when was Tom Thomas born? And we should get exactly the same reply saying that I don't know who Tom Thomas is, right? Yeah, got it. So now our idea is to make this particular website to tell and answer the questions of my private data. Let's go for it. So here I go in my Azure Studio. I go to the playground. This is where I'm going to build the whole app and then deploy it to this website. Okay. So first of all, I need to go ahead and put this data, which can be one file, which can be 5 files, which can be hundreds and thousands of files, into some kind of the database, right? And using my question, I should be able to retrieve the set of the data which is relevant for my question, use that data and question, give it to GPT, and then get the answer back. That's what we're going to do in our database. So there is something called as data, and then there is something called as indexes. So data is going to be pure data as 1 file, 2 file, 10 files, and then we are going to build some indexes on top of it so that we are able to search relevant piece of information, retrieve only the information that is required to answer the question, and use this data and questions to get an answer basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to indexes. I'm going to say create a new index, or yeah, not from here, but let's say this is much easier. Let's go to a background, and yeah, let me showcase it to you. When was Tom Thomas born? And it should say, I don't know. Yeah, we go to your data and I say, I want to add the data. And we come exactly the same place where we're going to create an index, right? So I say, I want to select my data and I say, okay, I want to upload the files and folders. Just to tell you, I have created two files for this information. One file is Tom Thomas was born and the other file says Harry was born. Okay, so just to showcase you again, where are those two files? Open recent. Yeah, HN is basically Harry's information and TT is basically Tom Thomas information. So these files, as I said, they are just test files, but it can be huge pile of information. Okay, so I'm gonna upload these two files and that's gonna be my information knowledge base. So I'm gonna upload files. Those two files are HN, that is Harry, and Tom Thomas, those two information. Okay, and when I upload, I need to use AI search service so that it can index it and vectorize it properly. So I'm gonna say, okay, use AI search. I say that I need to do some embeddings. I'll create some embeddings using this one. There is a separate video which talks about how do we create in embeddings. So that's not going to be part of today's tutorial. And I'm going to just name some index. I'm going to say uh, Tom index. I don't know, just some name I'm going to give. Okay. And it's going to be one-time indexing, so it's going to take the data and index it and that's it. We can do it every hour or every day, things like that, depending upon your use cases. But for now I'm just going to do one-time indexing. Virtual machine, basically to do all the processing, to take the data, uh, give the data to for embedding creation and vectorizing it and putting onto some storage. It needs some computing power, and that computing power needs to be done through some virtual machine. So what it will do is it will spin up a virtual machine automatically, complete the job, and then destroys the virtual machine basically. So I just say hit auto select. So next, and I say it, please create. So this creation depends. It's going to take some time. It normally takes few minutes to few hours basically, depending upon how much data that you have given. I've typically seen it takes 10-ish minutes for data up to 50 MB or 100 MB. And if the data is more than that, it can take a longer period of time. In the interest of the time, what I have done is I have already prepared the dish. So I have already created this index named auto index. So I should be able to just use the other index, hopefully. Come on, give me. If not, then we'll have to just wait. I'll fast forward the video, and once this is done, then we should be able to use uh, the data. Let me try to close this and refresh, for example. Let me see if that allows me to do cloud. Okay, yeah, it allows me to use something. So I have created an index that was named as auto created index. It was exactly the same thing. And now I'm going to ask the question, when was Tom Thomas born, and it should tell me now that he was born on 1985, and it also tells me which document it referred to answer this question. So it referred to tt.txt. Super cool, right? So let's see if my second question will also be answered. So who is older, Tom Thomas or Harry? And for this question, he should refer basically to both the documents. He should have read both the documents. He should analyze and give me the answer. Let's see if that works. Yeah, Tom is older than Harry, blah, blah, blah. And to our greatest information, it has referred to both the documents, the document of Harry and the document of Thomas. Um, just there is a limit of how many documents, how many chunks this can refer to. Those things can be controlled by retrieval number of documents. It has to minimum retrieve at least 3 documents given with your question, and maximum it can refer is I think 20. Yeah, so it's a good, depending upon your budget, depending upon your use case, you can use this particular parameter for sure. Okay, so what we're gonna do is again deploy this particular model to our web app. So here we go again, and I already have, yeah, deploy. It's gonna take few minutes. I think hopefully it should be done quite fast. And let me see if we are able to get that information here already. No, maybe we just wait for a few minutes and it will be available here. So there we go, guys. We were able to deploy our own chatbot on our own data. And this is exactly how you create your own Copilot that will be answered to the questions of your private dataset. Yeah, before I close, I really want to have this done here. Yeah. If you have any other questions, concerns, queries, please feel free to reach. I'll be coming with the third part of it, where I would be taking the textbooks and or can we already do it now? So instead of auto created index, I have already created a test data. No, it won't work. Mm, no, it won't work. Did the deployment work already? Yes, here is the deployment already worked, and it says Tom was born, and it also gives me the reference. This is exactly the document that it has referred to, and then I'm going to ask again the same question: who is older, Tom or Harry? And again, it should refer to both the documents. Super duper. There we go, guys. I hope you are able to get at least the core of this particular model, where we can have our own private data, have our own chat GPT or own GPT or own Copilot, have our own website, and it can be used by the people within the organization or people within a small group. So the case study for me is I'm going to upload all the textbooks for CBSE class 12th. That will be, you will be able to ask any question related to your textbook and you will get the answers only as per your syllabus. Cheers guys, have a great one. Ciao.